Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome to the Adventures of Scotty Boy. This is Scotty Boy. If anybody new is joining us with this video, welcome. This is going to be a primeinc trucker vlog soon. I'm not there yet, so at this point I still haven't even sat in a truck. So you can put the pencil and paper down if you're looking for wisdom in that regard. It'll be a little while before I can speak with any kind of expertise regarding trucking itself. What I can talk about is the lead up to, I guess, through the decision to become a trucker, through the process of getting connected with, a recruiter, what will happen after you do so, DOT physical, documentation, and ultimately your CLP test. Those are the kind of things that I can talk about and kind of give you a heads up of what might be coming if you are indeed making this decision. One thing I will say, and I'll probably do this as a playlist, I've gotten a lot of things kind of off me. I've been working real hard to get stuff done in preparation for leaving, and I've hit a point where, not everything's done. It's more life things like paying bills and things like that rather than the stuff I need to do for Prime. Most of that's in order at this point. So I've got a little time on my hands. I'm looking to put together a playlist of very short videos on each of those steps that I just mentioned. This one will be the decision-making process. It might be a little longer than the others because I do want to get into it a little bit. What the hell does it take to get someone in my position, 49 years old, wife, 2 teenage daughters, a good salary, especially coupled with my wife who also works. We make pretty good money, but that hasn't stopped the struggle. The struggle has been pretty rough. It's not the salary side. It's just that, some mistakes, maybe some cautionary tales that I'll go into in the past are still kind of, gut punching us a bit to the point where, the salary isn't cutting it, even though I would say most people would say it was pretty good. And I'll get into that. And I'm hoping that maybe there are some folks out there that are in similar situations, similar age brackets. I guess this will probably speak the most to people that have more salt than pepper in their beard. However, if you're young and maybe first getting into, maybe it's trucking, maybe it's not, but you're just getting into a career where you're going to start making like real career money, whatever that means to you. I've got a few cautionary tales because I made one big mistake that we still pay for, and that's kind of where the decision to trucking is rooted, and I'll go into that on the other side. So stick with me. Like I said, this is going to be a playlist. The next few videos, I'll probably be wearing the exact same thing because I'm kind of expecting I'll just kind of roll them all off one after the other. But I want to break them up so that, they're a little bit easier digested. So anyway, I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for coming. Okay, I actually did this video before, and I was posting it to YouTube, and it was almost posted, and it was just bugging me. It was 27 minutes long. I think I got deeper and more detailed than anybody would need or want in this video. So I ended up deleting it, and I want to do it over again. I want to be a little more concise in what has gone into my decision to become a trucker. And just to recap a little, my career has been in mental health. My last job is director of quality assurance for a mental health agency. So about as far from trucking as I can get. So, like I said, it's the money has been kind of stable. At least it's been a good paycheck. I'm not going to say how much exactly, but good. Most people would think, we were doing okay if you heard, what my wife and I make combined. But I think for me, it's been 3 things, big things that over the last 10 years have kind of converged, not all at the same time, but over time, 3 elements, if you think of it like a triangle, that kind of pushed me finally into the direction of making this decision to become a trucker. None of the 3 corners of the triangle by themselves would have uprooted me. It has taken all 3 to say, okay, it's Hail Mary time. We got to do something drastic. So, and switching to trucking for me is drastic. So anyway, I just wanted to go through those three elements a little bit. And like I said, I did a long video and went into a lot more detail than was necessary, I think. So I want to redo this and keep it in a more digestible length. So first prong, we'll talk finances. We have been struggling for most of my marriage, to be honest. It's been 15 to 20 years. My marriage is 20 years. And it was more, I guess, when my kids started coming, but it started back then. I've been working my way up through the agency I'm at, through that time. But all along the way, I've been doing pretty well as far as the income goes. Now, cautionary tale number one. Going back to when I was a single person just starting out my career, I mentioned in an earlier video that I was owning and operating 2 Subway restaurants in my late 20s. And during that time, I was single. All my bills were paid. I wasn't making a huge income, but for a single guy, everything was paid for, and I had a little extra money rattling around in my pocket. So I wanted to buy a house. And those of you that may have seen the other video where I did the town tour, I live in that area that I went through, and it's kind of a historical district. I went back into way back history. Not all the houses here, most of the houses around me are roughly around 1900, or when they were built. It would have been older, but there was a huge fire here that burnt down most of the town just prior to that. So, but mine is one of the older ones. My house was built somewhere around 1870. It could be as late as 1890, but it's a little dispute on that. Anyway, when this house came up for sale, it was under foreclosure, and it was an absolutely fantastic deal. It's a huge house. When it was built, it was actually a privately owned hotel. It was a hotel with some cottages around. Those are no longer here, but my house is the hotel portion of that. Again, 1870, and I will tell you as a cautionary tale for anybody young looking to buy a house, do not, I repeat, do not, and I'll repeat one more time, do not buy an old ass house if you do not know your way around a hammer and screwdriver and construction. I could do some, base level maintenance and stuff like that, but I'm not a handy guy. It doesn't matter what you do. The house is going to crumble constantly, and you got to stay ahead of it. And if you're not, inclined to carpentry, you're going to be paying some huge bills constantly. So that's one of the things that's been digging into the income that I was talking about. We also, did a huge remodel on this. When I first got it, it had been converted into a duplex. I lived in one half and rented out the other for a while. That was the plan, do that until I got married and had kids. And then we were going to convert it into a single family home, which we did. I had a budget of $50,000. I remember we were going to knock down a few walls, expand the kitchen, and do some cosmetic stuff. Problem was that every time we opened a wall, a floor, anything, there were always issues. Plumbing, electrical, rot, the wood was old, stuff like that. We had to rebalance the foundation. Anyway, it was exponentially more than the 50,000, to the point where it was a crawl across the finish line just to get it to pass inspection again so that we were allowed to move back in. Nightmare scenario. For those of you that are maybe my age, you might remember a movie called, what was it? It was, it was Tom Hanks and Shelley Long. What? I'm totally blanking on the movie now. Anyway, they bought a house, the Money Pit. That's it. Okay, think that we made every mistake that they made. Gorgeous house, old house. Wanted to make their dollar stretch a little bit. Didn't go with the licensed contractors. Went with the jackleg guys, that kind of jack of all trades type of people. Mistake. Anyway, again, I want to summarize. That has been kind of the bane of my existence, has been recovering from that debt that we did not expect to have, and then an ongoing, thing where we are constantly having to, we're behind on repairs. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. I could right now spend $50,000 with no trouble just on getting this house repaired. Um, but anyway, but at 27, it's a 3,000 square foot house. I was looking at it like someday this will be my mansion, and I'm able to buy it right now, and when I'm young. So I was ecstatic at the time. So anyway, I guess I've heard it kind of called being the good kind of broke. That's us. Everything's paid for. My kids have never known hunger. There's been a roof over the house, albeit leaky once in a while. We're taken care of. Bills are for the most part paid. We struggle with that, certainly do what a lot of people do, or you have to make decisions on maybe holding back on this bill, this pay period. We'll get it next time, that kind of thing. We do struggle a bit with that. But for the most part, we work our butts off. Everything's paid for, but that's it. Savings has been a struggle, and fun, just enjoying life has been a struggle. And that's where I'm at financially. I'm tired of that. We work way too damn hard to just break even and not be able to do the things we want to do. I'm not even talking frivolous stuff. I'm just saying, comfort level life stuff. I want to be more comfortable and not stressing over finances constantly. So that's prong one. Prong two, and I'm looking at my time. I'm doing it again, so I'm going to speed up a little bit here. I want this to be a little shorter than 27 minutes. Anyway, next prong I would say would be absolute burnout in my job, and there's no other way to say it. My job was high stress. You have a baseline. If you think of a scale maybe 0 to 10 on stress level, I lived at a 6. It never dipped below 6, and that's weekends, holidays. You're always worried about the next project, the next deadline. With me, it was working with external state entities that are just constantly breathing down your neck, audits, that sort of thing. Some of that comes with the territory with that kind of job, but it had gotten exponentially worse. I don't know if it was COVID or what, but the entities that kind of had oversight over our agency just started becoming bullies. I mean, and there's no way, for me, there's no way else to describe it. Where we used to feel like partners, I was getting just nasty grams in the email every single day for usually pretty petty stuff. So that coupled with internal things, I have no animosity towards the agency and love the people there, and I wish the agency well. But it kind of took a turn. There was a turn maybe about a year ago that the decisions that were being made, for me, it was a 180 from the direction I wanted to see for an agency that I loved and continue to love. So it was no hard feelings, but if you think of it like a cruise ship that went to port, and I just kind of said it, instead of going on to the direction I thought it should, it did a 180 and headed somewhere else, and I just said, leave me at the dock. But bon voyage, have a good luck to you. So that's kind of where I was with that. Absolute burnout. But the problem that I was posed with there, and my journey here, we didn't start with trucking. It was looking at, I was looking at lateral moves at other agencies that are mental health or perhaps Medicaid, insurance places, things that, my background might work towards. But the job I've got or just left, I have a bachelor's in psychology, but it's actually a job that's usually reserved for master's level or higher. And, I got the job just based on, 15 years of reputation, which is great. And I appreciate it. But when you have to leave and you look around, it's very unlikely that you're going to find a lateral move somewhere. You're going to take a cut, generally, more than likely. And we're struggling now. I can't afford to take a cut. I have to always be moving forward financially, or it just wouldn't make sense. So somewhere in there, that's kind of where the drift away from mental health in this career that I've chosen, that was where that kind of occurred. Had to leave, no doubt about that. And then when I looked at your choices, they were very limited, at least in my mind, of where I could go and be moving forward rather than taking a big hit backward. All right, third prong. third corner of the triangle is, I guess you best say it as midlife crisis kind of stuff. If you take it down to the root, midlife crisis is just the feeling that you're not where you wanted to be at this age. A few other things kind of mingled in there. I've already talked about, lack of savings. I want to open some damn doors for my kids when they hit 18. It's fast approaching, and we're just not ready. Whether it's college or something else. I just want to be able to help them. I had help when I was a kid. When I turned 18, my parents were able to open some doors for me, and I want to do the same for my kids. And we're not there at this point. So there's that. And I will say, and maybe you can relate to this. I think I'm from a generation that I was trained not to take risks. People today talk about you hear the saying, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's great, but that's not the way I was raised. I was raised that you pretty much damn near you have to get a college degree if you really want to be successful. This is just the way I was raised. It wasn't even really discussed. You're going to college, and then you're going to get a job. Hopefully you'll like it, but if not, you work your way up, you white knuckle it, and you get through it. And if you have some money left over, that's what you use that money for, on your dreams then. So that's kind of, it's not in my DNA to make this trucker choice. It really isn't. It's been very difficult. I've been raised, and I think rightfully so, to make decisions on as little to no risk as possible. But with no risk, there's often no reward either. And I think it was a good way to be raised. It's a good practical way to look at life and raising a family. Problem is, it just fell short. It got me really far, but I'm at a point where it's just not enough to get us over that hump into a quote unquote good life. So those things. I guess the last thing would be the one part here that I think is maybe selfish, and I'm not really going to apologize for it. I was watching something on TikTok the other day, and there was a quote. I don't know who it was. It was somebody on the Joe Rogan show, and the quote was, "Every man has two lives, and the moment." The second life begins the moment the man realizes they only have one. And that really hit me. It was like, God, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. Nothing can be at the expense of making sure your family's taken care of. But it's less about being remembered, I guess. But do I really want to be remembered, for just treading water? I made sure my kids had the bare necessities. They've got braces. They've been able to purchase instruments for the band and things like that. But, we've had to say no to a lot of stuff that just should have been a yes. And it was just because we didn't have the money. So, that's where we're at with that. There's a selfish part of me that if you were to build the perfect job for me, I think it would be trucking. I'm kind of an introvert. I like being in my own head. I like, alone time, that kind of thing. I've never been tested to this degree that's going to, so I've always thought that, solitude like that seems pretty good. We'll see. It'll be a good test for me, but I think sitting here, not having done it, I think it's going to suit me pretty well. Going to be some things that I really don't like, and one of them is being away from my family. That's not something I'm looking forward to. Personally, I wouldn't have done it if my kids were younger, and that's taking nothing away from those who decided that was the right thing for you to do. Truly, I don't judge on that at all. For me, though, it was hard enough leaving with them. When I first started thinking about this, I was thinking I'd wait till they were 18. But then the issue of not having anything for them at 18, whether it's college or that kind of thing, that kind of played into that, where I started thinking, well, if I'm going to do it, there's no better time than the present. So that's what went into that. So those three things, none of the three corners of the triangle by themselves would have had me uproot from a very stable income situation. And maybe y'all can relate. Maybe you got parts of your life that are going really well, and you don't want to mess with that, even while the rest is crumbling, and that's where I was with the the income thing. That was the one thing that I've really kind of been on a rocket trajectory. I was doing well, getting promoted and making a good living, but it's not enough, and we've been struggling for a while, always kind of thinking that just the next pay period, if we can just, maybe we're not going to eat out anymore, we're not going to do this fun thing or that fun thing, you'll cut back. And next pay period's the one, we're going to round the corner and start moving in a better direction. And it never happened. We've been saying that for years. So it was time. And the three together kind of pushed me in that direction. So I don't want to go any further than that. I hope that y'all can get something out of that. Both the younger folks with maybe a little cautionary tale, spend wisely when you first get those big paychecks, whether it's trucking or whatnot. Be careful of the big purchases, home, things like that. I will also say that it will always serve you well to wait on the luxury items. Anything that is not absolutely necessary that you hold off on, whatever it is, the great car, big TVs, whatever, you will always be rewarded for holding off on that kind of stuff. It'll all come eventually. And if you wait and put off things that you don't need right now, it really has an exponential effect to the good later down the road. So just a little word of caution for you guys. Again, I want to reiterate one thing though. I do hope that this inspires one person out there. That would be enough for me. Not necessarily to say trucking is the one thing, but like I said, my regret is that I waited till 49 years old to open my eyes and realize it's going to take something bigger than just clawing to the next pay period to get out of this. And in my mind, it's Hail Mary time. So for you, I just hope that you realize what I didn't earlier. Take action steps. If you're struggling, take a little more severe action steps then. Maybe that's just second job or a change in career within your field, that sort of thing. Whatever it may be, recognize it and take action, because you don't want to wait till you're 50 to try to fix things. And I'm glad I'm doing so, and I'm very happy where we are and where I am with the decision, but I just wish I had done it sooner. So that's it for the big decision. I hope it helps you. Stay tuned. Again, I'll probably be wearing the same thing for the next few. And also, if it seems like I'm a little chilly and I'm bundled up in the house, our compressor broke here a little while ago. So it is cold. We've got heat upstairs, but downstairs it's a little chilly. So I know my voice has been a little shaky here and there. So bear with me on that too. Anyway, thank you for showing up again. To any new subscribers, welcome. Thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, like, comment. Subscriptions are free. So I hope to see you all again. Thanks for coming. All right, bye-bye.